This is my second video on factorizing quadratic equation using the AC method. We're going to be dealing with two equations that require us to have two different approaches. All right. The first equation is this one here, 4x squared minus 11x plus 6 is equal to 0. And the values for A, B, and C are A is equal to 4, B is equal to negative 11, and C is equal to positive 6. So A times C is 4 times positive 6. And 4 times 6 is equal to 24. 4 times 6 is equal to 24. Now we need two factors of 24 that will add or subtract to give us a negative 11, which is our middle coefficient. So let's play around with those factors as I usually do. 1 times 24 is equal to 24. Cannot add or subtract to give us 11, whether negative or positive. What about 2 times 12? 2 times 12 will give us 24, but if you subtract or add, you cannot get 11 either positive or negative. 3 times 8. 3 plus 8 will give us an 11. For that to be a negative 11, though, it will have to be a negative 8 and a negative 3. So negative 3 and negative 8 will give us negative 11. Negative 3 times negative 8 will also give us a positive 24. So we could use that now to rewrite the left-hand side of the equation, those two factors that we have found. We rewrite it like this. We have a 4x squared minus 8x, which is one of our factors, minus 3x, the other factor, plus 6 is equal to 0. So at this point now, what we do is we group those four terms on the left-hand side into two binomials in two brackets there. We have 4x squared, a negative 8x in the first bracket, then we have a negative 3x and a positive 6 in the second bracket. Let's go ahead and factorize here. We need to find the GCF of these two brackets separately. So first bracket, two numbers are 4 and 8. The greatest common factor between 4 and 8 is 4. Then the variables are x squared and x. The greatest common factor is x. So the GCF there is 4x. And we can say that 4x into 4x squared will leave us with an x here. And we have to bring down this negative sign here. And then 4x into 8x, that will give us a negative 2. With the second bracket, we have to be a little careful because we want the contents to be identical to the first one. So what we need to do is factor out a negative 3 here. A negative 3 into negative 3x will leave us with a positive x. And negative 3 into a positive 6 will give us a negative 2. So at this point here, the contents of our two brackets are the same, so we can afford to factor out the contents of those two brackets, which is x minus 2. We can factor that out into a binomial by itself, and then the GCF that we have there, which is 4x and negative 3, we put that into another bracket. So let's go ahead and do that. So one bracket, x minus 2, the other bracket, 4x minus 3. And let's go ahead and set each one of those equal to 0 as separate binomials. So we have x minus 2 equals 0. That's one binomial. 4x minus 3 equals 0. Let's go ahead and solve for x for this first binomial here. Now we have a negative 2 on the left hand side. We need to get rid of that by adding 2 to both sides. So we have x minus 2, and here we're going to add a 2, and that will be equal to 2. So in this case, x equals a 2. The other binomial says 4x minus 3. Now we need to add a 3 on this side in order to get rid of that 3. And that will be equal to 3. On this left side, the 3's will cancel out, leaving us with 4x equals to 3. We haven't finished as yet because we still have a 4 that is multiplying that x, and we need to get rid of that by dividing both sides by 4. So we have to rewrite that as 4x over 4 is equal to 3/4. On the left side, the 4's will cancel out, leaving the x alone. And on the right side, we will have 3/4. So the two values for x here are 3 and 3/4. That's the solution to that one. We're moving on to the second one, which is this. That is x squared plus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. Now this is where the difference in methodology between solving these two equations comes in. The coefficient on the second equation here is 1. The previous equation, the coefficient was greater than 1, so we had to follow about 5 different steps. But when the coefficient is 1, we can skip about 3 steps. Let me show you. So let's find the values for a, b, and c first of all. The value for a is 1, the value for b is 7, and the value for c is 10. A times c is 1 times 10, and that is equal to 10. Now we need 2 factors of this positive 10 that will add or subtract to give us the middle coefficient, which is 7. Those 2 factors we can easily recognize as 5 and 2. 5 and 2, right? Those will be the 2 factors that will multiply to give us 10 and add to give us positive 7. Now, we don't need to do what we usually have to do when the leading coefficient is greater than 1. We have to rewrite the left side as, 4 terms and group into 2 brackets and factorize. No, we don't need to do all of that. What we need to do now is to take these 2 factors that we have found and place them into 2 brackets with x as the leading term. We do it like this here. So look at that. We have x plus 5 in one bracket, x plus 2 in the other bracket. That's how easy it is when the leading coefficient is only 1. So now all we need to do is go ahead and set each one of those brackets equal to 0 and solve. So let me do that. X plus 5 equals 0. And then we have x plus 2 equals 0. Solving for the first binomial first, we have x plus 5. We need to subtract 5. And that will give us a negative 5 here. So we have x then, and x is equal to negative 5. In the second case, what do? X plus 2, we need to subtract a 2 there, all right? And so x will be equal to negative 2. X equals negative 2. So that's our solution for that one there. It is x equals negative 5 and x equals -2. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.